The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 26th March 2021. Falling in love. Me. I was only 12 years old when I remembered him, and his memory changed my life forever. Perhaps the image around us was mind-blowing, but nothing there impacted me as much as what truly transformed me. I was standing in front of the great Sphinx, which in my memory was a red-tinted lion. All around us, everything was full of colorful temples and tall plants and palm trees. I realized that it was another time, long ago, and although I could not differentiate much or really interpret what was happening to me, I could understand that it was another life. I knew that it was the Nile, that it was Egypt, even without being Egypt, because I felt inside that it was another older civilization. I recognized myself as part of the families of Atlantis, and I could feel my body. I was a woman. My age was about 40 or just over 30, and I was standing in front of the Sphinx with some nostalgia and worry. The images and the knowledge of being there, of recognizing this sight, of seeing what I was seeing inside me about a fraction of a story hidden and longed for by many humans, were worthy of surprise to any 12-year-old who was sitting in the history classroom, seeing all this as a spiritual vision that would change his life forever. But nevertheless, it was not that marked me the most, but what happened in front of this image. I gently felt fingers caress mine gently and even shyly. It was his fingers, it was his hand, which took mine with the delicacy with which a flower is taken. He held my hand firmly and gently, and my heart raced. His caress, the love with which he let himself be felt before my moment of anguish, reminded me of one of the most powerful feelings of the human being, to be in love. I am. And you still were. Me. From the moment I remembered Sobek, my Atlantean husband of 12,000 years ago, I remembered what it meant to be in love, and I would never wish for him again. Perhaps for many it can be fascinating to remember things from Atlantis, from ancestral history, and yet the reason why I remember the things of the past is not because I kept track of them or visualized them in channeling, but because of what I felt for those people with whom I shared those facts, especially him. I was in love with him, madly, but in a way that I had never felt, not from devotion or from beauty, from need, but from essence, from sharing, from knowing that you can trust the other 100%. In an instant, when in my memories he took my hand, all the memories returned to me. Atlantis, the Nile, the pyramids, the plan to bring heaven to earth, the language, the philosophy, all. I remembered the Atlantean culture for dancing with him, remembered the language for talking to him, remembered the country for walking with him. I asked my guides why I needed to remember everything this way. What need was there to remember the emotional bonds which hurt so much, to know how the rest works? I am. And you know the answer, I imagine. Me. Remember it. I am. Memory is stored in the brain temporally and spatially. As useful experiences for later data, the brain manages the information received emotionally, i.e., energy. For this reason, to remember, you need emotion, energy, and this can be produced in several ways. But just falling in love, beyond time and space, is what keeps the memory alive. Love is eternal, so being in love makes you eternal. Me. Do you say that in a way I remember all this because of the emotions that the people I was in love with or loved produced in me? I am. That's exactly it. Information is energy in development, and therefore, it, in order to adapt, needs to be transformed. This generates energy and it produces emotion, a perfect and circular system that is self-managed. To fall in love, then, is to make dreams eternal and tangible. Emotions, then, are the emissaries of the nervous system, carriers of memories, neurons of the eternal network that you call love. Emotion registers a lot of data, and falling in love stores an entire library. Me. So if in this life I had to be the librarian and remember the way I would do it would be falling in love. I am. And so from that time he took your hand, from the moment you remembered his smile, his look, and his caress, what was happening in that instant became eternal. Me. And I remembered. I am. And he whispered to you. Me. No matter the time, no matter the place, or the bodies we have, I will always be with you. I am. 12,000 years in love with the same soul. Me. And 12 more until I remembered him again. And when we met again, he told me the same words. He will always be there with me. Today we are no longer a couple, nor in love, but we are friends, and without understanding it at all, we continue to be and meet again, and each in their own way remembering each other. Until we became friends, healing our karmic and historical bonds, I could never really fall in love with anyone else, for my heart belonged to him. 12,000 years in love, and in a way I still am, although no longer of the person or body that he is today, but of his being, his essence and divinity, which I recognize in the mutual respect and love that we still have today after so many millennia. For several years I thought I could never fall in love again, because his caress meant everything to me, both in the past and today, and in the future. However, I could open myself to feeling. Although few times in my life, maybe no more than 2 times, I could feel the intensity I had experienced. I am. That's because in the memory of your love with him, you didn't just feel the romance of 2 young adults, but you felt the summary of a lifetime, from that first smile when you saw each other to the moment of your deaths. Altogether, everything that happened lives in you, and all of it is what you were in love with. Me. What is falling in love? I am. It's the thoughtful act of becoming eternal. Its particles are inside, love, from the Latin amors, without death, eternal, and se, which represents the reflexive of being, of going or returning to oneself. In English, fall in love refers to falling into the energy of desire, that is, to enter, to be inside that lust that ignites the engine of the body. In both cases it refers to being within a process, which in some way activates energy or makes it eternal. Falling in love, then, is the action of entering the eternal. Me. What is the difference between falling in love and loving? I am. As the word itself says, in or fall, they speak of falling inside, of being inside, immersed in eternity, while loving describes the eternal, the conceptual, what encompasses things. To love something is to open oneself to embrace what one loves, but without leaving the center in which it is. Falling in love involves embracing what you love, but leaving the center. Falling in love is the energy of memory arising from the synapse, which seeks transcendence in the glory and joy of life. When you fall in love, you create powerful bonds to connect to the divine within you. You discover more strength and capabilities. Me. So when we fall in love, we leave the center, but with the aim of finding it? I don't understand the logic. I am. Love is like the orbits of the planets around the sun, while falling in love is like the rocking of a planet's axis by the force of the star, leaning toward its center, losing its own. The Earth wobbles, losing its axis in favor of the sun's axis, which produces solstices and equinoxes, the seasons. That is, it was thanks to leaving the center that it was able to evolve. It transforms by staggering and dancing on its axis. In love with the sun and its brightness, the earth seeks it and leans towards it. Now, think of yourself. Your transformation and evolution do not depend on the inorganic stability of your being, but on the organism that keeps things improving, transforming. Me. By this you mean that falling in love is synonymous with evolution? I am. That's right. It is entering this process that makes you move forward, grow, know. Me. But falling in love hurts. There are always frustrations, tragedies, pains, betrayals. How can it be that the advice is to fall in love? I am. Because the only thing that frustrates you about the process of falling in love is your expectations about what you fall in love with. From the plexus, your being seeks to bind itself, to cling to all possible ties in order to feel security. Attachments to bonds and relationships are a clear picture of the need to belong. But that is not being in love, that is wanting or desiring from the condition, when what you seek is to love unconditionally. As a human mammal, you consider that to fall in love, you must fall in love with someone human, someone you like and with whom you want to have children. That's survival thinking. But tell me, who should you fall in love with? Me. To quote Merlin in England in 2018, fall in love with nothingness. Fall in love with the void. I am. And when you do, you can fall in love with yourself, and there, love everyone else in constant creation. Me. But wait, what does it mean to fall in love out of nowhere? I am. It means finding peace in the eternal, knowing that you are all those you fall in love with, that what you seek outside only lies within, that you have never left yourself, that they are all one, and that there is no time or space for being, that they are all the same. They are the eternal ether that protects and expands your memory. To fall in love with nothingness is to immerse yourself in eternity, remembering that love exists in all things, and therefore you must allow yourself to fall in love. Me. I always fall in love very intensely and I suffer. It hurts. It ends badly. What can I find good about doing it again? I am. That every time you have done so, you have advanced a huge step in your growth and you've expanded your love into new territories of existence. When you fall in love, you activate the bonds of creation, the manifestation of being, of all levels here and now. When you open the center of your being without fear of feeling how you immerse yourself in the waters of the eternal, you will have the ability to infinitely create everything you set your mind to. Falling in love is the engine of existence. Me. If a look, a smile, and a caress have made me remember 12,000 years of history and have mobilized me to achieve everything I achieved, to rediscover that look, smile, and caress beyond the forms in other times and spaces, and has allowed me to live what I live today, then I find no reason why I should not allow myself to fall in love again and again. I am. The universe is eternal, so just remember that you are too, and the only way to achieve it is to fall in love.
Mahasaya.